Welcome friends, in this video we're going to learn about using catch and try. So let me add a comment here at the top of the page. So using try/catch to create more stable code. So what is the purpose of these things? Well, sometimes when you create a bit of code, errors can occur. It should be possible to first of all try code, and if it generates an error, you should be able to catch that error, display a useful message as a consequence of that error. So that's the fundamental motivation here, okay? Keep in mind the same logic is used in languages like C# also. So it's a general kind of programming language construct, not something specific to just, SQL. So let's begin here. I'm going to say declare at and then counter decimal equals -10. And I want to show you some other things with variables, obviously. So here what I'm doing is declaring a variable named counter. The decimal data type is being used for it. And with that bit, I'm assigning a default value of -10 to it. So its value will begin at -10. All right. Now, the next stage, here, take a look. I'm going to type this. I'm going to type while, and then at counter, say is less than or equal to 1. That's a basic while loop. Remember, this here is the logical condition. And we'll run this loop as long as that condition is true. Once that condition is false, meaning the counter is no longer less than or equal to 1, maybe it's 2, this condition will end the running of the while loop. Okay? Now, take a look here. I'm going to display a different kind of message. So this time I will say this. Select, and I will say 1.00 divided by the add counter, by the variable. And this is fine. We're not going to save to a table or anything else. I wanted to show you that. You can just type select, stick in some kind of calculation. 1.00 divided by the counter is just a calculation. That's all it is, you see? And of course, the next bit, as you might remember, would be to do what? What do you think? Okay, so I hope you said, you need some kind of way of incrementing the counter variable, growing its value by 1 as the loop operates. So I'm just going to type select at counter equals and then add counter plus 1 as shown here. All right, I'm just going to give this an execution. I want to see what happens. That's all. So we need to highlight everything. And notice the query here is running forever and ever and ever. You see that? It's just running forever. It's not ending. See that? Okay, so first of all, let's shut this down. And to investigate things a little more thoroughly, go into debug and step into for a second. Debug, step into. And let's see where the problem is. Okay, while, and then select 1 divided by the counter. Okay, so once again, because of the lack of begin and end, we're not reaching the portion that says set counter value or update the counter value. We're not reaching that line, you see? Look at the highlighting. All right, let me shut that down. We need to be able to reach this line. And also another thing that can happen is, you see this bit that says 1.00 divided by a counter? Here's a basic principle, which is this one. Never divide by 0 because division by 0 is not defined. It's an undefined quantity. You study that in math. For our purposes, unless of course you're very curious and you can take a look at it for mathematical reasons. For our purposes, we don't divide by 0. Okay, it's not a defined quantity. So if we try to divide by 0, that should generate an error, and we should be able to handle that error in some fashion. Let me take a look here. So I'm going to close these in begin and end first. Let's see whether that does anything for us. Like that. I want to build things up a little bit for you so it's more meaningful. So stick in the begin and end, highlight all the code and execute. And it gives you all of this, except take a look down below. It says divide by 0 encountered. Look at the results here. Went like that. All right, then it says no column name, nothing there. So we have an error here. We need to be able to handle this kind of error, okay? So the way to do that is as follows. Instead of just doing begin and end, we're going to say begin, try, and then try. And the benefit of that is that this will allow you to handle that error in a more graceful fashion, so to speak. And with the begin, try, and then try, notice the little red squiggly shows. If you can hover your mouse over it, sometimes it's a little bit tricky. We need another construct that usually is paired with the try and then try, which is this one here. You can say begin catch and end catch. This is where you handle the error when you catch it. And here you can do a variety of things, but one of the things that you can do is this one. You can type select error message. Where is that coming from? Error message, as you can see, is a built-in function. It just exists. We can make use of it. We don't have to create it. And as you can see, there are other ones. Error line, error number, error procedure, for example, will tell you which stored procedure is generating an error, and so on. You see? So quite a few different things. Okay, so select error message. And you can alias that, for example, as error message, like that. So let's see whether this is enough. So take a look. Highlight everything, give it a go, hit execute. And as you can see, it's still running. The only difference is, as you can see, it's not crashing this time, so I'm going to terminate this. So let's see, I'm going to go over to debug and step into. All right, look very carefully at the execution here. All right, so we do that. And this is working nicely, right? We're going through the process, executing. Then we start getting around -1 here. All right, that still works. Now the counter variable is 0. Look at the little tooltip. It's 0. So when I do that bit, take a look at what happens over here. I'm going to have 1 divided by 0. And notice it goes to the catch. And now that displays error message on the screen. So let me see, let me pull down. You see that? It displays this, divide by 0 encountered. So the error message has been shown on the screen, and it's not shown in an ugly red anymore, the way it was previously when we did it, right? Remember the messages, we got an ugly error message in red. This time it's nicely incorporated into everything. Divide by 0, error encountered. But the problem is that, take a look now. You can still continue this process again, you see? You can just now forever continue generating that error message. You see that? So that's a problem too. That has to be fixed now. How do we fix that? Well, notice that now on the bottom in the output panel, we just have a whole bunch of divide by 0 error encountered messages. The loop is continuing. We need one more thing. Take a look. After that, where my cursor is, put a space and then type break. Break, this bit right here, helps to pop out of the loop after an error is handled, like that. Or as you saw, it will just continue forever, which is not helpful either. So this break will help to end the loop. This is what I mean. Take a look. I'm going to run it this time with the break incorporated. Highlight everything, give it an execution. And this time, it ends fast. Take a look. These are good divisions. At the end, we have divide by 0 encountered. And then it terminates. It doesn't run forever and ever and ever. So again, that might be a bit difficult to see. If you'll comment this out, look very carefully at the difference. Look on the bottom in the yellow status bar where it says query executed successfully. Look there what happens when you run without the break. Hit execute. Look at it. It says executing query, and it's running and running and running and running forever and ever. And it's running and running. So I'm going to terminate this. And then we put the break back in, and that helps to pop out of a loop, like this one here. So this lesson, as you can see, has shown you quite a few different things. First of all, you can set a decimal as the data type on a counter. You can set a default value like -10. You can display to the screen directly without any table using select and then some kind of calculation. And you can use the begin try and then begin catch and end catch to write more stable code that can handle error messages. And within the catch, you can have a break that will pop you out of your code if you want to, so as to terminate it, for example, because the error message is of a certain kind. And this one, the error message right here, remember there are other things that you can put there, like the procedure that has caused the error and so on. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.